In this video, I'm going to show you how to change the general settings in TestCentre. Then I'll also tell you how to back up your data and also how you can perform other operations. So let's take a look at how to do all this. This is the TestCentre admin application. So to change any general setting, you go to the settings menu, then you click on server. Now on this page, you will see that you can edit the business name, business address, country, and state. So you can change this to whatever setting you want to change it to. And once you're done, you click on save. Then let's talk about refresh interval. It's a very interesting concept. The refresh interval determines how often the client updates the server about what's happening on the client. So let's take a look at an example. So when a candidate is taking an exam or a test, the state of the exam gets backed up so that in case there's a sudden power interruption on the client device, the candidate can resume test once the device is back online. So how often do you think the exam will be saving the state of the test? I mean, the client will be saving the state of the test. The rate is determined by the refresh interval. So if you have a refresh interval of 30 seconds, it means every 30 seconds, the client will back up the state of the test. Then refresh interval also determines how often the client pings the server, telling the server that I'm still active or I'm still connected or there's an ongoing exam. So the refresh interval controls how often the client communicates with the server. So it's important you choose the right value. 30 is just ideal for most use cases, but you can increase the value if you realize that there's maybe your server is lagging or there are so much activities happening on your server. So the higher the value, the slower the traffic coming into the server. And if you choose a smaller value, it means you have more traffic on the server. But the advantage of having lower value is there will be quicker updates happening for any activity on the client PC. So, but ideally, you should just leave it at 30 for the most part. Then another thing you can change is the logo. So let's say you have your company logo. You can change this logo to whatever you want. And once you do that, the client application will always display this logo to candidates. This logo does not affect the logo of the admin. It only affects the logo that will show on the client application. You can always change it at any time. Then you can export the client application. So let's say you want to have a copy of the client application. Let's say you want to give a particular candidate or you want to get the application on any PC. You can export it and you just have a copy of it. It's as simple as that. Then you can also update TestCentre client. So what that means is if you downloaded a fresh copy or the latest version of TestCentre client, you can always click on update and browse for the location of that newly downloaded TestCentre client. And once you upload it, all the clients that are online will get that new update and update themselves accordingly. Okay, so these are the basic changes you can make on the server settings. Then what about SMS? So on this setting, you can create SMS template that can be used when sending uh, SMS results and all of that. So how do you create a template? Before you can create a template, you need to understand certain keywords that you can use in your template. So these are the allowed keywords you can use. So these keywords, they are like placeholder. So let's say you want to create a template where you want to send a message where you want to embed your business name. You don't need to explicitly type your business name. You can use this placeholder, and what happens is at the point of sending the SMS, the TestCentre will replace this placeholder with your actual business name. So these are the other placeholder that you can use: business address, candidate name, reg number, class, batch number, and so on. So you can take a look at all of them. So here's an example of a template. So let's say you want to create an SMS template where you want to invite them for their test, right? So here's an example. The message is as follows. Hi, candidate name. You have been invited for a test which will take place at this address and your reg number is this. So at the point of sending this SMS, this candidate name will be replaced by the actual candidate name. So this is a preview of how the message will be received by the candidate. So you can also check that of the results. So if you check out this result, you see that the template is hi candidate name. Here is your result. Total score is this, time spent is this, subject score is this, and here's how it will be received by the user. So you can add more templates. You can just provide a template name. The sender is just a way to, it's more or less like the an identifier of the sender. But this at the moment, this sender information is not relevant in this current version of TestCentre. But you expect to provide something. Then the next thing is to provide the message proper. Just type whatever message you want to type and you click on proceed. You can always edit or delete any existing template that you want to delete or edit. So the last thing is the help menu. So on this help menu, you can see, you get to see a general description of what TestCentre is all about, and you get some guide on how to set it up and all of that. So these are some of the settings that you have access to in TestCentre. So let's talk about other operations like backup. So how do you back up? How do you back up your data? So let's say you want to format your PC and you don't want to lose all your records, the test record, the candidate record. You can back them up in a file, in a zip file, then copy the zip file maybe into a flash drive or hard disk, and then restore that. So this is how you backup. It's quite straightforward. Just click on backup database. Then you'll be asked to save it somewhere. So this is the backup file. Then you click save. Then you'll be asked to select what you want to back up. So the candidate will be backed up by default. You can't change that. And test will also be backed up. But there are other data you can include aside test and candidate. You can include the content record. So you can say you want to also back up all your question bank. You want to back them as well. Then you may also want to back up the results of the test. Not just the test data, but the result of the test. Then you may also want to back up correction data. Every time a test is submitted, TestCentre keeps a copy of the test question and the answer selected by the candidate. So you may decide to back up the correction records. You can back up SMS templates and you can back up device records. And once you are done with that, you just click proceed and the backup just proceeds. So the backup is ongoing behind the scene. It doesn't prevent you from doing other things. You can navigate and do other things. Then you can also restore backup. So let's say you just reinstalled this application and you want to restore all the backup you have. You can do that. And let's say this is even a new server. You want to move all your record to a new server. You can restore that as well. All you'll be expected to do is to browse for the file, the zip file that must have been created during the backup. Okay, so the other thing you can do is you can clear correction data. So if you feel that correction records are building up on your PC and they are taking up some space, let's say you've taken like 10,000 exams and let's say correction data have piled up to like a gig, for instance, you can clear all correction data if you don't need to view correction any longer, and that will clear everything. Another important operation I need to mention is this clear test device. So whenever a test is being taken by a candidate on a client PC, the reg number is always associated with the current device on which the candidate is taking the test. In a situation where, let's say, the system got shut down and they are unable to recover that system, the candidate can continue the test on a different PC, But for that to happen, you will need to clear the memory that has associated the reg number to the previous PC. If you don't clear it, the admin will assume that there is an ongoing test in the first PC. So in order to clear that memory, you will need to enter the reg number here and clear that memory. So that's the essence of this clear test device. So it's going to clear the association between an existing test with a device so that the candidate can move on to a different PC. But in a case where the candidate logs out by themselves before the PC before the PC crashes, there is no need to do this because once you log out, that linkage between the reg number and the device will be cleared automatically. Or if the candidate did not log out before the crashing happens, this is the only way you can make the candidate move to a different PC. You have to clear that information. So that's the main use of this particular operation. So these are some of the things you need to note about uh, the operations available in TestCentre. The one more thing is you can check for updates from time to time. So you should be expecting us to you should expect that we'll be uploading updates from time to time. And whenever there's an update, you can check using this menu and you'll be able to confirm if there's any update. So these are some of the things you should take note of when it comes to changing settings in TestCentre.